Hello everyone. Today we're going to do a simple exercise that's going to use your wrist, your arm, and your fingers all in a kind of perfect calibration. And it's exactly what I just played. What we're going to do is we're going to play C as an octave and E as an octave in the right hand. Then with your second fingers you're going to play in the left hand A and G in your right hand. So you'll end up playing octaves, and then with your second finger is the interval of a third below your or outside of your thumbs. So you have kind of a shape that looks a little bit like this. Now this exercise combines the three, what I've been calling the gears of piano playing. Third gear, the arm. Let's start with that. This uses most of the motion that's involved here. And if you've ever skipped stones, in a way you've already done this exercise. So when a stone is skipping, it's coming along and it's moving this way, essentially horizontally. And while it does make a vertical point of contact with the water, it's essentially moving horizontally. As soon as it becomes too vertical in nature or it goes too slow, then it of course sinks. And as you watch my arms move, my largest body part moves slowly this way, so it's moving horizontally this way, and it makes this single vertical point of contact with the piano at each key. However, my arm is not moving from the elbow in the sense that it's not moving this way. So this is a very slow motion. It's not really well designed for what the elbow is used for. It's much better designed to make horizontal sweeping motion. Okay, let's look at the second gear. This is so important. My wrist is moving in a what I call pat the dog motion. It's this very small motion here, and my wrist stays flexible. If my wrist gets tight, virtually in any situation of piano playing, it's like not having oil in the engine of your car. I mean, you're kind of done at that point. So my wrist is moving this way. Now, the hard thing about this exercise is, I think, gear 1, which is from my knuckles down, my fingers. And my fingers are doing very little work here, and they're in a fixed position. So they're actually, poetically we would say they're firm fingers, which is code for there's some tension in my fingers. Now, tension is sometimes a dirty word in piano playing. There will always be tension in your body until you die at some level. Now, when I'm doing this, though, there's a small amount of tension in that my fingers are in a fairly fixed position and they're firm in the fingertips. So if I was to play this at the fall board, it would sound a little bit like this. You can hear the strength of the attack. But the difficult thing is, while I've got some firmness and tension in my fingers from the knuckles down, I'm free in the wrist. It also requires a little bit of tension to hold my third and fourth fingers up, which are so that I don't end up kind of playing a lot of extra notes by accident. So again, let me review that. The bulk of the motion is moving from my elbows or arms, moving horizontally. Then there's that essential pat the dog motion from the wrist, and then my fingers are in a fixed, firm position. And I can try this in lots of different permutations. This would be in contrary motion. I could also do this in kind of alternating hands. And I could do that in contrary motion. I could also do this with other fingers in the middle part of my hand. So I don't have to use just second finger. I could try it with fourth fingers. So in this case I'd be playing C, E, C, E, C, E. And alternating hands. And I could also do it with third finger in the middle, playing at the interval of a fourth. So on. You'll also notice, like so many things, that just like this that we've talked about, there is a preparatory motion before I make the first attack. So you'll notice that the preparatory motion like this gives me all the momentum to transfer that energy, and you'll see that's right here. So I don't start from here, or I have no kind of momentum. So you'll notice also as I do this how light I play my octaves. So I'm really just barely playing to the bottom of the key, but I'm not playing past, so I'm not trying to play strong. You think of that skipping stone, it just barely makes contact with the water and keeps going. It does not get too deep. And then you'll also notice the close proximity of my fingers in terms of height above the keys. So they're just barely lifting enough so that I can strike the next key. But as soon as I get too high, then my motions become this, and it loses its horizontality. It becomes a vertical motion, and then it becomes slow. Lifting just barely enough. It's a pretty easy exercise. Work on that, and it will help you develop a calibration between your between these three gears, working in sync with each other, but working in their own proper ratios with each other as well.